Good afternoon. How are you? I have a question for you today. And that question is basically if you're somebody who has ever felt like you're capable of more, right? You know you have your potential, but you've not fully realized that yet. Now the question is, are you that person? Because that's the people that I'm speaking here to hear today. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Aseremi, and I'm a mom of three, and I'm an author of the book Discover and Live in Your Spotlight. So the reason I ask this question is because I always have these conversations with people where they know that they could be doing more with themselves, right? They know there's more inside of them, but they just don't know how to harness it. They haven't fully stepped into those things yet, right? So this conversation is how to discover and live in your spotlight. And this is just the tip of the iceberg because there's so much in the book that, will give you much insights, actionable steps, and how you can really go about living in your spotlight because all of us all have something unique that God has brought us here to, right? All of us are talented in one way or the other. We all have gifts, we all have the potentials, but that fact that we still feel like, or many people still feel like they're living in the shadows of that potential is the reason why I'm so passionate about this book and about this topic because everybody here has a purpose. And if you're not fully living in it, then you should be asking yourself, how can I do that? Right. And that's the reason why I'm having this conversation today. It's not because you don't have abilities, it's not because you lack intelligence, it's just because probably there isn't any clarity or even the courage to step into something new, right? Into the fullness of who you are, right? Or even alignment. Maybe you're I don't want to say maybe you're in the wrong career or something, but maybe you're just not doing the things that you should be doing at this point in time that will lead you into that ultimate goal. So that's, like I said, that's the reason why I wrote this book. And that's for me is one of my passion. And I know that the book, for a fact, is not just about motivation. It's basically about helping you to identify those gifts so that are inside of you so that you can develop them. Because it's just like having a diamond, right? If you have a diamond, you've heard the stories of diamond in the diamond mines, the gold mines, right? Until those things are brought out and fine-tuned, refined, it doesn't serve anyone. It doesn't have, it still possesses that intrinsic value, but it's of no value to anyone who needs to use it, right? So you also need to first of all identify those gifts. You need to develop those gifts, and you need to position yourself so that that light can actually shine. You know the way the Bible says that a city set on the hill cannot be hidden. That's the way you ought to position what you carry so that those that need to see it can be drawn to that light. So I just want to, mention a few key points in the book. And the first one is actually discover your light, right? That's the first step. So you need to discover just the same way that they discover the gold mines, right? The gold, wherever it must have been found, right? That's the same way you need to discover your light. So for me, you cannot shine until you have discovered it. And many people, spend their time chasing other things instead of truly identify that thing that they were uniquely created to do, right? When you discover those gifts, when you discover your strengths, your value, your abilities, those things that are inside of you that you can use to serve somebody else, you will stop comparing and you start staying in your own lane and working it out to produce the best of who you truly are. So the thing I realize is that in discovering it, you could be doing other things, but you will definitely, like life, everyone's journey is like unique. And you will never be misaligned as long as you're led by God, right? Because in the journey of your life, you will discover it. And sometimes many people undervalue that thing that is unique to them, right? They do not see how they can actually leverage on those things to shine. So, my first point, like I said, is discovering it. And how you can do so is continually walking in alignment with what God has called you to. And in that journey, doing those things, the book captures a whole lot, right? But in that journey, in doing those things, you will definitely find that thing that you're called to do, that you're called to really serve with. And it varies in different seasons of your life, right? So, the key points number two is definitely creating that alignment, right? Once you have that alignment, you will definitely, you need to work it out. You know the way the Bible says that. I mean, it was even Jesus who said it, that you he said, I must work the works of my Father now that it's still there, right? When you have that purpose, you found that thing. If you do not work it, you see other people doing the same thing. I mean, not necessarily doing the same thing, but doing the things that you know you could have been doing, but you're not working towards it yet. So you need to align and accelerate, is what I'm trying to say. You need to discover those things and then start to work at it, right? Because that's when you truly start to live, when you begin to accelerate those things through action. So accelerating I mean, you from the word, you can understand that there needs to be action that is put in place, right? So for me, because when, like I always like to say, when you're aligned with who you truly are, that's where your spotlight find like that's where your spotlight is. That's where people start to gravitate towards you, the same way the Bible says that nations will come to your light. So you need to be the one to accelerate, position yourself in that place so that people can discover what you're about, who you are, and what you do. And it's not even just about, when I say spotlight, I don't mean it in the sense of being famous, is in the sense of the uniqueness of standing out in that thing that you truly are, right? So for me, I know that many people don't have the courage to do so. So I'm going to be talking about my third point as courage. So having those things in you, you need to ditch the criticisms, the failure, or the failure mindset. Let me say, what if it's not going to work? What will people say, right? That's the third thing you need to eliminate from your mindset, so that you can truly embrace and be unique about what you serve to the world, right? Because your spotlight requires you to step forward in courage, because in that your courage, right, you're encouraging somebody else to do the same. You cannot shine if you keep hiding. You cannot fully, like when I mean fully live, without stepping out in courage. So let me ask you something right now. What is that one thing that you know that you're meant to do, or that you're meant to even be doing right now, but you have been delaying and procrastinating for later? Yes, your spotlight is not just about what I call like success, right? It's about the impact you're going to make in somebody else's life. Changing other people's life is about the influence you're going to have just because you're serving somebody else. It's about fulfilling your assignment, your God-given assignment on earth. Like, take for example, there's nothing on this earth that isn't without a purpose. The chair I'm sitting on right now was built for sitting, right? So what were you built for? That's my question to you today. So if you can answer that question, and if you know that you're already walking it, then congratulations, right? But if you know that you have such thoughts in your mind, this thing is resonating with you so much, you feel like you're not fully doing those things, then yes, this is specifically for you. So you can grab a copy of my book, or you can just work it out with these things that I've said. Like, start from there, start from somewhere. You don't necessarily have to get it, but just start from where you are, making sure that you're discovering those gifts, you're developing your strengths and the things you need to align, so that you can position yourself to really serve the world with those gifts. And that's where you truly shine. And I can tell you for a fact, that's where your profit lies. That's where you will find passion, and that's where your potential will be fully expressed. So I'll leave you with this. The world needs your light. Yes, the world needs your light. So if you know that the world needs your light, realize one thing today, that until you rise from inside you and make that decision to shine, right? And then start to take those actions, nothing changes. Like, you're not going to fully live. Just the same way that the sun rises and shines on us every day, you too must rise to let your light shine. Okay? I hope this has blessed somebody here today. I hope somebody is going to take a credible action today to see to it that they are living fully to the fullness of their destiny and their potential. So I'll see you again tomorrow. But before then, stay blessed.